All right, welcome to part two of two and a half of Reading of the 2006 Reading Country tour. Hopefully, we'll have less internet hiccups today. Like I said, we're going to be starting at Port Clinton and moving on to the Tamaqua and Lofty tunnels, finishing up at Bird Tower, south of Reading. Sort of picking up where you were yesterday, Port Clinton. Unfortunately, don't have a better context. If you remember, this is just another view of the original Reading and Northern's first power switch. I was actually told that so today they're rapidly installing CTC. But back in 2006, the only power operated switch they had was this one right in front of it. Was this non-interlocked one right in front of the headquarters in Port Clinton. And someone was just telling me how pleased Andy Mueller was when he got this. And as you can see, this one particular one is an old model, probably a Reading original, because you can tell by the old motor case there. Instead of being prefabricated sheet metal, it looks like it's a cast component. Checking everything here. All right. We have the good old Reading Northern's Road of Anthracite Diamond. Again, this is also not something that they put out there just because they're super big fans of the Reading Railroad. That was there. I mean, it wasn't as in good condition, but they found that digging around in the woods. I think they found a photo. I forget. I don't know the exact story. If they found a photo and then went looking for it, if they were just doing brush cutting and they found it, but that was there, and they restored it to the way it looked. In a bit of a also the right of way for the Pennsylvania's competing route is right above there. It's also now a public trail. Just getting what I called it. You can see it has become a little more overgrown since 2006. Should probably rename the old one to indicate how overgrown it is. It looks like, I was actually wondering if that second signal bridge was there, and it was. We can also see the newly built sheds for their passenger car storage. Those are still there today. I'm just going to crop that out, though. I don't really need it. Yep, you see that's the same structure, just 15 years later. Still looking pretty good. There it is. Just want to figure out what I can. It's almost the exact same photo. Just no RDCs. I still think that they're going to be bringing the CTC into this terminal area. I'm just not sure because it was built, it's sort of built as their yard. I'm not sure, that having to run the main track in might disrupt a lot of their operations, but we'll see what they do. I think that they do want to signal that at some point. Okay, here we are at the Lofty Tunnel. Let me go and try to pull up how I dealt with these back in the day. By dealt with, I mean labeled. They're not. They're on the old. I think was the Castaqua branch or whatever it's called. If you go look at the timetable, this provided the Reading with a connection with the DL and W later, Erie, Lackawanna at Castaqua, Pennsylvania. Might be worth pulling this up for anyone who's watching here. So here's Reading. There's Port Clinton there. So I guess the official, I'm not sure where the official main line went to. The original main line sort of went up there to Pottsville. Eventually they built the secondary route that went through Tamaqua, through the Mahanoy Tunnel, and then you're along the Locust Summit. There's your high point there, and then that heads out. Eventually they'd cross the Susquehanna and head up to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is about 200 miles from Philadelphia. The Castaqua whatever branch, if you branched off at East Mahanoy Junction, that would allow freight to head up this way. Lofty Tunnel is right there under present-day I-81. There's I-81. There's your Google map, but I'm showing you it shows up a little bit easier on this thing. Follow the little dirt road, and it would head up this way and squiggle around. I think there was another kind of tunnel there, and it would squiggle its way all the way here to the west bank of the Susquehanna and cross over, at which point it would be, that's where the Erie-Lackawanna interchange was, right there in Rupert, Pennsylvania. A lot of these, when freight up through the 1970s, before trucking really took over, and you still had a lot of carload freight, all these little connections really mattered, because if you were doing, carload freight was just, a trucking alternative. So you had to route the car. You could have a box car go from some place in Philly to go to some place in Binghamton, and it would need to take the correct routing. Today, that sort of short-haul traffic's been almost entirely relegated to truck. Another interesting thing is that this route did connect in with the southern branch, the southern one crossing at Sunbury. It would hook up with it here, and the bridge is still there in Milton. There used to be a Y, and it would cross the river. And both of those routes would let you get up to Williamsport. So the neat part is this whole line here was run under manual block. Reading did a lot of manual block, but this is one of their biggest mainline uses of manual block up until the end of operations. If you look at this is an old timetable on the Reading Tech website, and it goes into how that's manual block. So just giving some. Anyway, today it's a right-of-way, and the Lofty Tunnel, even though it's not very long, goes under I-80, and I've been wanting to walk through it, but it requires sandals or something because it's completely flooded. And I'm not scared, but at the same point, I'd rather go with someone in case I step on something, or there's a some sort of just I don't want to get injured and then vanished for a while. So, but I haven't been able to convince anyone to come with me just for the short walk under I-80. I also never have the correct flashlight. I need a boat light with me, and I don't have it. I highly recommend, if you're ever up there, I highly recommend visiting. It's a really neat thing to check out. And you're not seeing much right now, but the way you get to it is, so there's the tunnel, there's I-80, and if you go here to the Google map view, Lofty Road, it's accessible. If you leave Tamaqua and head up towards past hometown, you'll eventually just turn off the road down to Lofty Road, and you just got to keep your eyes out. And where is it? Oh, sorry. Yeah, there it is. The right of way just crosses. You can just sort of pull off to the side of the road. It's not really anybody's property. It's explicitly not their property, and it's just used as a ATV track. So if you just stay on the right of way, no one's gonna bug you. But you just walk from there to about where the tunnel is, where it starts, which is right in there. And one of these days I will get back there and I will get through it. Possibly Sunday. One of the neat things that is there is that you just had this beautiful little spring well coming right out of the side of the ground. Someone was clearly using it, but just sort of the neat things that you get up in the rural areas, especially in the east. There's a lot of great water sources. I've had PA Mountain spring water on the Appalachian Trail, like really high up, where you can just drink it, and it's just super sweet and good. Sort of, what do you call it? Sort of. I suspect that I went twice. I haven't been back in a while, but hopefully I'll be able to get up there tomorrow. So one of the issues you get is the entire approach to the Lofty Tunnel is just a giant like lake. I mean, the people drive through it with their off-road vehicles, and it gets ankle deep, maybe like you gotta wear some flood shorts. But it's not, there's not like a sinkhole. It'll go up to mid thigh, maybe if you stay in the middle. But there's nothing, at least, where he said people who don't like water they can't see through tend to freak out at that. I went past that part. And some more. Sorry, just trying to get through here. Is everybody doing okay there? Okay, we got people. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. This is just a little, I don't know. This is just a little interesting daily and some steps up to people's houses. Sorry, this isn't more interesting. Oh, that's right. In this one, I don't think I went up that far. I didn't get all the way to the portal. In a following year, I did, but again, I had the same problem. I just didn't want to get injured. There we go. And is that it? Okay. Yeah, at that point we gave up, or I gave up, because my friend was not helpful. So this is where we then went to the Tamaqua Tunnel, which is a little more accessible. Let's see how we did this. See, sometimes it's signals, sometimes it's urbex. Although this would be like X-Urbex or RoarX. So Tamaqua Tunnel is in use by the Red and Blue Mountain Northern. It's between Tamaqua and Mahanoy Junction. If you're doing people who do train chasing would know this route. It's the way you chase a train from Tamaqua up to East Mahanoy Junction. You shoot out of the city. You make the turn off there by the fracking tanks. You cross there at the milepost 99 searchlight signal. And normally you would just follow this. You'd book it up this road, but if you get up here, there's a turnoff, and that's what by a farmer's field, and that's where you can park and you can walk down to the tunnel. What do you call it? The rail line and the tunnel. So I think that's the West Bridge. So unfortunately, I need to get mileposts, but I should know where they are. Because they're in here. I'm almost positive there's a milepost at East Mahanoy Junction. I hope so. Oh, well, there's 105. Okay, sorry about that. 1 second. All right, this bridge is just mile. I guess it's just milepost 99 or whatever. So I'll just hold on. I guess you don't have to be very exact. Distance. If you also want to take a longer walk, you can walk in from the milepost 99 signal. So it's half a mile, 2.7. So I'm just going to call it like milepost 100. I don't know where the milepost is. We'll see, but I'm just going to call it milepost 100. And this would be the bridge over the Schuylkill River. Did I even capture that name? No, I have it somewhere else. There it is. And this looks like it's facing south. All right. Probably. Once I get this going, it'll be more interesting. RPMN. There we go. Here we have the Tamaqua Tunnel looking south. No, it kind of is. It's not you. It is. It is a little bit blurry. Didn't do so well on that one. Notice that this tunnel is unlined. Tunnel liners are generally optional. Railroads do prefer to just blast it out and have the rock support it, which is usually possible. And only in soft soils would you see the brick or concrete lining. And here we have the northbound portal looking south. So far, although one of them I walked through many years ago, and I didn't get any pictures because it was back in the film era. I used to take a lot of Boy Scout trips up in this area. So I always would sort of swing off and do stuff, but I didn't, again, it was in the film era, so I didn't really get a lot of photos. Southbound, northbound, southbound. So there's the ones I've walked through are the Dillinger Tunnel on the old Perkiomen branch, the Lofty, what do you call it, the Tamaqua Tunnel, as you can see here. I did walk through the Mahanoy Tunnel, which is 3,000 feet long. It's something you don't quite do as much. Back I did that on like New Year's Eve in like the late 90s when there was very little, RBMN wasn't as hefty as it was today. So there wasn't much risk of a train showing up. And even if it was, you just sort of stand off to the side. So I've done, and then I need to do Lofty, and then that would just leave the black and flat rock tunnels, which are kind of used a bit more by NS. Oh, there's milepost 100. Look at that. Don't know why I didn't get a picture of the actual portal structure on the southbound side. Like, why would I not take that picture? Like, I'd walked into the tunnel and took a blurry picture. See if anybody has any questions here. So mile markers are depending on it depends on how I'm it depends on how I'm doing the file setup. The reason I use mile markers, it depends on how I'm doing a line survey. So if it's just one-offs or stuff I don't care about, that's part of the issue why I'm redoing these. Back in the day, you would just sort of just sort of name things willy-nilly. This is what it is. This is where it is. That kind of thing. The issue you run into is that if you want to skim through stuff with like a file, like with a photo manager, then it's a lot harder. Then you're trying to have to search on a name. Whereas if I have stuff in milepost order in the file name, then it will line up naturally on a file. If you just align stuff by name, it will arrange itself in line order, and that's super useful and makes it a lot less difficult to find stuff. So anyway, if it's a lot of stuff like one-offs, like, oh, this is the old Reading Tamaqua tunnel, I'd name it like that. The thing is that RBMN has done so much more line improvements that I'm actually at the point where I'm getting signals. I'm going to locations along the Reading Blue Mountain main line. So as Reading Blue Mountain and Northern has added stuff, I'm having to go. I'm now in the position of having to rename. I should be, and I am renaming my older files to support the fact that I now have Reading Blue Mountain and Northern in with a milepost designation on it. So now that I know where the milepost 100 is, I'm actually going to go back. I prefer to have the tenths. The tenths just indicate. I mean, that's just tenths or hundredths are just indications that I know. It gives me more granularity. The 100 milepost is about there. I chug it across. It looks like 3/10 of a mile. So that first bridge that I crossed is going to be about 100.3. That part of the tunnel also about 100.3. It's like 100.1. And there we go. I'm going to need to make that a little bit less in size. Okay, whatever. And I should have pointed out on the bridges, the Reading used a similar style of railing to the PRR, but it was still distinctly different. This is a very cheap hardware store version of today, where you again have the railing pipe running through holes and uprights, but it's been definitely done to a more modern budget. And here we have the milepost 100. Thank goodness I actually took that picture. Again, today I try to. I wasn't trying to like do it for reference then. Then it was just like, oh, it's milepost 100 because you're exactly 100 miles from Reading Terminal in Philadelphia as the railroad goes. So it's nice that you came all that way and you find yourself at 100 miles from Reading Terminal Market, or Reading Terminal that happens to be at the same location as the market. Now the RBNM actually has milepost signs, which are really, really nice and custom. And this cool water drip inside the tunnel. Tomorrow I'm going to be, I told you on that Fire Up 113 trip in north of Reading. I'm bringing the GoPro, so hopefully you'll be able to see a whole bunch of, get some videos like I got for the 611 trip. Really surprised I didn't get much more engagement on those. I don't like being that guy to complain on like YouTube algorithms. In fact, I don't tend to rely on YouTube algorithms. Or want to, but at the same point, I don't know. I thought I had a pretty compelling 611 video there. Again, using my GoPro on the magical extendo rod. Just coming out here on the north end of the tunnel. Railroad north, that is. I bet I didn't take a picture, because I don't think there was a portal. It just sort of goes into the mountain with a raw rock cut. Yep, I didn't take a picture of the other portal. But I'll be there again at some point. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff in the Reading and Northern Territory. As signals become much more scarce, that's going to be the one of the few places I'm going to be able to go to for stuff. And when I say that, I don't mean the, oh my god, I got to see this. It's just, what is interesting enough, and what is interesting or what is not interesting. I don't go to take a jillion pictures of stuff that I don't feel is worthwhile. So this is what I think is a crossman's. This was not an interlocking tower in Tamaqua. This was a crossing guard's shanty, I think. I haven't had a good explanation of that. I called it something in my recent Reading and Northern trip. I think I just referred to it as like a Tamaqua tower. I think it's where they have the interlocking stuff. I mean, they have the station name on it, but it was not a CP back then. Because when I went out to the control point, it could be there, but I think that was the crossing protection. So for all I know, they put the crossing logic in the building, which would be a really good way for them to save money. Andy Mueller saves money in a way that makes things interesting, as opposed to NS saving money because it costs more to manage something than to just buy and actually save money. It's that thing when you work for a large enough organization, people tell you not to save money. I'm going to still label this as a Reading thing. It really hasn't gotten its Reading Blue Mountain and Northern branding. Let's see what I called it back in the day. What on earth? Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm missing photos here. Oh, damn it. All right, hold on. I missed a few. Okay, just 1 second. Yeah, see, I thought I was pulling them from the right place. When I re-rotated the photos back in the day, it didn't preserve the date, so I have to go and make sure. That's why I reorient things. But I guess I didn't pull the right ones out the last time. So just hold on here. Ugh. I need 68, 76, 77. All right, hold on. I'll just grab a bunch of 68 on down. And the 88. Oops. Usually very good about that, but this time I screwed up. Cut that, cut that. Cut. Okay, sorry about that. I did get the other portal there. It was just so anything that was in vertical orientation is a different date. And like I said, I usually don't make that mistake. I don't know why I did this time. I was positive that I grabbed the right photos there. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. So this here, as I said, here is the southbound portal, just completely cut. Sorry about that. Just got to get back in the swing of things. Here we go. Oops, that's not the one I want. I just got to restore the other ones. This is back on the other side of the bridge, just showing off the little walkway there with all the boards falling out. I'm assuming that's been fixed. Yeah, it looks like they fixed it. Fixed. That's kind of a hazard. Okay. Here we have the... Oh, this is just looking back towards... This is looking west, I think. Railroad west. Back towards the hill. Just I think I wanted to emphasize the height of the hill that it's like one of those river fingers, but I just wanted to emphasize the height that it was cutting through. The Tamaqua tunnel is not very long. You can see all the way through it. It's only a couple hundred feet long. Oh, there's milepost 100 plus the tunnel. Just shows you where it is. Oops. And what are these? I think I just saw. Oh, I don't know what kind of flowers those are, but those are just some pretty wildflowers. What did I call that back in the day? I would likely be at the, I guess the north end. So again, sorry for breaking the narrative. Oops. And finally, this is just a picture. When we scrambled down, this is the little Schuylkill River. One of the Schuylkill River branches, just the bridge, just looking down from above, of how we got down from the car pull-off area. So it's Oh, that's another reason that I like using the mileposts. So here we have two Schuylkill River bridges, unnamed Schuylkill River bridges in close succession. So the conundrum that you get under normal situations is what happens when you have two of effectively the same thing. There's a ton of Schuylkill River bridges on this part of the line. So that's another reason over the years I used mileposts as an absolute disambiguation. You can't have the same bridge on the same milepost down to the 10th. So this is the very the most direct example of why I do it. So we have one Schuylkill River bridge at milepost 100.0 and this Schuylkill River bridge at milepost 100.3. And that's fundamentally why I started using the mileposts, because you'll have duplicates otherwise. There we go. And now we're back at Tamaqua. So again, I apologize for that having to go backtrack there. Let's see if we got more questions. RBNM's not even a short line. RBNM's a full-on regional. It's not. It depends what your cutoff for regional is, but I pretty much put it up there with a regional. It's almost up there with Florida East Coast. Oh, no, the photos weren't missing. They were simply, I was pulling them out of order. Like the last time I don't know what it was. There shouldn't be anything that I don't think I deleted anything by accident. I just when I did the pull, I think I did the delete and then I did a pull. I don't know what's going on. I'll check, but I'm not missing anything. Let me see. I have all the original ones. I would have noticed it by now. All the ollies, they're all there. I got all those. Yeah, I didn't delete anything by accident. I just missed a couple. I'm not entirely sure how that happened. Because like I said, I'm usually very, very careful. Because you can accidentally delete them, but I fortunately did not. Anyway, I got one. Hold on, I got two more that I gotta fill up here. Oh wait, hold on. Wait. Oh, I sorted by. Whatever. What I need to do is pull out. There. Yeah, just these two additional ones, and then we're okay. I have this one tiger lily photo left over from the Lofty Tunnel. There we go. And this just additional thing of Port Clinton, where I will be in port tomorrow. Actually, I'm starting at North Range. I don't know where. I forget where the CNJ loco is taken off from. I'm driving up there, but I'm not driving to the place. So, okay, here we go. And we're good. All right, there we go. Back to this boyo. I'm just gonna, like I said, this isn't marked as Redding Blue Mountain in Northern yet, so I'm just gonna keep that as a Redding thing. This is the Redding Blue Mountain Northern Tamaqua station, where the new CP Tamaqua is today. But back 15 years ago, it was just their little freight station. I don't think I did that right, because this is tilted. And now that's worse. I don't know what's going on here. Like, the roof isn't right. Like, that's correct. The storm drains are almost all vertically correct. But, like, the house is cockeyed. Whatever. It looks fine. This is, again, the proto-CP Tamaqua. There's that crossing box that's still there. That's why I'm almost positive they put all the interlocking junk into that crossing tower. So the question becomes, what's the milepost? Can I read it on the thing there? Nope. I might just label this as CP Tamaqua just because, like, I know that's what it is now, but it would put it in the same bin. I forget if I'm using, what am I doing here? Yeah, it's not a, I'll just label it as the switch. Alright. And here we have the Tamaqua station. This is what I usually label as a Reading, because it's not used by RBMN. It's a typical, like, restaurant complex now. And just a better, closer view of it. Not sure if it's the same restaurants. There's an ice cream place in there, but last time I was up there, it was closed because of COVID. So I'll definitely have to try to go back. And finally, we're Bird Tower. So I'm just going to dump that real quick and just delete everything that I need to. My name. And so everything down to here at 93. About 20 photos there. Huh, we're almost done. So everything else is the Bird Tower things. Yeah. All right. 1 second. Let me just get this up, double check, and we'll go from there. Okay. What do we got? Empty my trash. All right. Okay, so I do have this pulled up. Bird interlocking. Hold on, let me get going here. This is more in my element as opposed to random stuff in coal country. So if anyone's wondering where we were, Tamaqua's up there. There's the Tamaqua Tunnel. Tamaqua itself comes down the Little Schuylkill River, back down to Port Clinton, then down this sort of main liney thing. There's some nice tangent track in there. It's like, how'd they find that? You know, before you get into the real coal country. And by the way, another interesting thing, anyone who's listening to this, it goes to show of how the Reading, I mean, the anthracite coal, people don't understand of just how much of a valuable commodity that was, and then how due to technology, how much it went from very valuable to not valuable at all. It was as valuable in the day as oil or gas or any of those things you see now. It was the way to heat homes that wasn't smoky, sooty, smelly, and there's not a lot of it in the world. There's some in like Arkansas, there might be some in the UK, and this was by far the world's largest reserves. So not only was the Reading Railroad set up to supply it domestically, but I mean their main freight line, ultimately ran through Philadelphia. It went through Philly all the way down to this giant export complex on the Delaware River to ship this stuff. I'd say worldwide, but effectively places where needed, UK, Europe, places that had money enough to and needed had a winter. So basically Europe, maybe Canada, but probably not. Reading wasn't the only one who was doing it. Lehigh Valley, Central Railroad, New Jersey, Lackawanna, Erie, all of those were serving coal country, and all of them were making a lot of, were making a decent amount of money. Reading primarily, since it had the best access to it, they were, they had, that's where the bucks were, and that's why its right of ways were built fantastically. That's why it used signaling technology that you didn't tend to see on a lot of the railroads, as in a lot of interlockings, a lot of signaling. Back in the day, interlockings were incredibly expensive. Reading could afford it all. Reading could afford drastically overbuilt right-of-ways. I mean, north of Tamaqua, on the Reading Northern, just look at this bridge. I mean, this is their, look at the weight of the locomotives and coal and stuff they had to be running to build this level of bridge infrastructure. It's astonishing. Of the axle loadings and the locomotive weights that they were running up there, well in excess of anything that you necessarily need today. So that's just something that I want to give everybody context of how much money the Reading Railroad had. Unlike a lot of like the New Haven, which was constantly bankrupt, the Central of New Jersey was constantly bankrupt for other reasons. But the Reading was not. I think it had a bankruptcy in there somewhere, but it was not the typical, I'm a railroad and I'm constantly operating in bankruptcy. So I wanted to pull out Bird interlocking. Hold on. There was a reason. Anyway, you get back to Reading, and south of Reading you have two lines. You have the main line, which is this, on the north bank of the river, or east bank, that would go downtown to Franklin Street. That's the thing that commuter trains run. You had the Reading Belt Line. This was built in the early 1900s to avoid the Reading Yard and the speed penalties. The Reading Belt Line primarily diverged here at C.P. Titus, came around from Cumru, and then just around the other bank of the river to come back at C.P. Belt. Now, the Reading Belt Line was designed to let coal trains come out of coal country, bypass the city of Reading, and keep going down to Philly. By the 1950s, coal traffic was declining, and most of their traffic was actually coming off of going New York to the Harrisburg. So if you see here at Blandon, this was the only line in was the Blandon low grade. Well, you had hold on here, yeah. What is it? The hill track. This is the only way to get to. I think that this is the only way. Yeah, sorry, that's right. The hill track was what got you to Allentown. It's abandoned now because they built something called the low grade, and that was only built in the 1950s. So this branch here today, that all the Harrisburg line, the New York to Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, Chicago, rest of the country freight runs on, that wasn't even there during World War II. Everything was coming in on the hill track. Then they have to snake through, Reading Yard and then out to Harrisburg. But that wasn't a lot of traffic. That was the PRR had that route, not the Reading. That was a Conrail invention, and it grew over time. But just want to give you guys a thing. So anyway, CP Bird, there's this third track that was used for eastbound trains called the Turkey Path. It's still referred to that today. That would come down here. It would cross the PRR Schuylkill River branch there. They would run parallel, and then it would join everything up here at Bird for Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. Here's what the tower looked like when it was CTC controlled from Ollie. You can see a lot of L's and R's in the high hundreds. That's because it was just controlled off the stuff. It used to be a Model 14 plant. So what it consists of, you had your 4-track main line going to 2. So it was the north end of a 4-track segment. It handled the trains still going down to Wilmington and Northern, which supplied, there was an iron ore mine. It would also supply Wilmington. And also these Turkey Path trains coming down on the other side of the river. I hope that makes sense for anyone who doesn't know the area. Here's what it looked like when it was built and in service. Very, very modern interlocking. It's just astonishing how well it was all maintained with those cable ducts. All very 30s, but still they're trying to be as high tech as they possibly can. Oh, those are my photos. Those are the ones I'm going to redo today. Somewhere there's a better photo. No. There it is. This just shows the Model 14 machine at some point before it was No, 1944. There you go. Again, top of the line technology for the day. By the time Conrail got involved, center, Y missing junction, here, 1 second. Walnut. There's Bird. Yeah, so this is definitely using the old CTC signals. So this is the 86E, or sorry, that would be the 74E. So they still had like an extra signal here, where the old like PRR branch used to be. So phantom. Everybody loves phantom signals. So all this was just the turkey path track, which is a Rule 251 East single direction track, coming down, rejoining the main track 2. No crossover, no nothing. There was an auto signal on the other side. That's all it was. One switch, and that switch was pneumatic. There was an air compressor line that ran all the way down there. What did I just hit? Ah, damn it. Oops. Don't want to highlight. I want to select. There it is. Okay, I'm sorry. I did not know what I was doing. It was the end of the day, and I missed a lot of neat stuff. So anyway, this is the signal coming off the turkey path. Gives you a medium clear with a three head medium clear, red over green over yellow, red over green over red, or red over yellow over red for medium approach. This is indicated as the 74E. The question is, do I CP bird this or just bird it? I think it's just bird. Even on the timetable, it was just bird, and the tower's there too. So that's probably how I should label it. Yep, that's what I did. We have bird tower northbound looking a little backlit. I don't know if it was still pneumatic at this time. At a certain point, it lost its switch was electrified, and then the tower was demolished. I don't know if it was pneumatic now because I didn't notice that. I could have sworn that at the time I was looking around it, and I could see, if you looked at older photos, you could see when the airline was there, and at some point the airline vanished. I probably should have poked around more to get in, but like through the basement or something. Oh, look at that! You got a diamond date. Diamond says 1929, which makes sense with the technology involved. This is a typical Reading power tower. There's one at Newtown Junction. There's a bunch of these that survive Capitol. There's at least there's a bunch of these. They're around. Norris looked like this. Newtown Junction is probably the best looking, best preserved one right now. Here we have the lone southbound signal. This all got moved. And by the way, that bridge, that arch, that really neat concrete arch bridge behind it, that's also been demolished. It's been replaced by a typical PennDOT special. Nice lighting for these signals. So again, Conrail did come in here and do some tinkering, but largely left it alone. This is labeled as the 98E. See, that has it all the way down there. So I think Conrail did come in and move this 98E signal closer in, just to reduce the amount of interlocking. I have this weird memory of being on a Schuylkill River canoe trip, and we stopped for lunch, and I scrambled up the embankment wearing the totally wrong kind of shoes. And I got up there and I saw a signal bridge. This was many, many, many years ago before I had any right to know what I was doing. And I think that signal bridge was on this diagram. It's this one. I think it was this one here. That was gone when I was here in 2006. That signal bridge was long gone. But I'm not sure, because that's pretty far. It could, like, I think I would have come up like right in here, and that makes sense about where that. If you look at the diagram, the 1960s diagram, that would have been right in there. But there wasn't a signal bridge there. Maybe the signal bridge was just. Now maybe it would make sense if the signal bridge was. Hold on. Yeah, I can see that's where the tracks would have come together. So I bet the signal bridge was somewhere in here. And I popped up on the canoe somewhere in there, and I could see it all the way down. But I just had this memory. You can see how long the interlocking was too. So the weird thing is when I said, remember, it had one air pneumatic switch. The tower was there, and the air line ran all the way down to the switch, which was right there. Today they've redone it, and they've put in a crossover. Don't think it's a full crossover. I think it's just a facing point, so trains can bidirectionally reach the turkey path. And there's a 3-track signal gantry, cantilever, because NS loves its cantilevers. But the airline went like a good half mile. Oh, it was crazy. So here in this southbound angle, you can see again the tower is still. This is where the hardware still was, because that's where the Reading put the logic when they CTC'd it from Ollie, and you can still see to some degree the telecom cables running into it. So those pole line wires could be live at this point. I mean, in 2006. Conrail could have tapped into the CTC pole line up where Ollie was and still been using the CTC, the original 1960s pole line, to hit the relay logic. Sorry if I'm prattling on here, but this is where I start actually providing value, especially for people who come in here and are watching this on YouTube. Here we just have a slight, and I feel super bad that this tower really deserved more attention than I gave it. I don't know when it demolished. It got demolished pretty quick after this. I wasn't expecting it to be demolished. It just sort of happened. They didn't 261 the line. It was just that, NS was just... something must have been like... They probably were having to maintain the pole line, and they just got sick of it. That's almost 100% of why they would have gone in here for a re-signal early. On the line, why are you coming into a Rule 251 line, maybe 5-10 years before you're planning to actually do a full re-signal? And why would you knock this down and mess with it? Probably because they're having to maintain the CTC code line. Have a nice front, and it's always nice when railroads are good about putting the station, the sign on the thing that has the interlocking logic. So that would have been your compressor house. That would have been your relay area, and then there's your operator area. PRR already always sort of had low-key compressor equipment, or had it in a basement. Reading, a lot of things like Reading, CNJ, They went on a lot of their 20s and 30s towers. They had just giant compressor rooms. Well, at least I stopped by and got these photos. Yeah, and there's the date sign. 1925, not 1929. Capital is the one I definitely need to start getting around here. I didn't get all the way. I mean, I'm sure I was wearing shorts or something. I likely, if I had been there, knowing what I know now, I would have tried harder to get inside the building. If I'd had jeans or something on, I probably could have gotten in here. But it was, from what I remember, it was pretty gnarly. Trying to move around behind there. I went back to the location looking for any signs. I mean, they did an astonishing job of removing it. So there's your air plant drying. I don't know how they work. They have these weird drying manifolds where the air goes in and goes through these small pipes. It does something. This was going to be where your power was for the tower. Whatever utility power they got, it would have had its own substation plant behind it. If we go to the diagram, not the diagram, the picture. Yeah, you can see there's your three-phase power rack, commercial power. Had something else behind it too. Yeah, it's also sort of interesting. This is a Superfund site. There's all these signs saying like this area under 24-hour surveillance, because I guess it's people. They don't want people digging up the toxic soil or whatever is there. I was just there last November. Yeah, you can't even see where the Y used to go. Oh, I guess it would have branched off there. It would have been a pretty tight Y track. This is just a slightly different angle. Yeah, the air plant has clearly been ripped down, so the air switch was no longer in service as of 2006, but it had just come out. I remember seeing that. That's probably why I went by. All right, we're coming to the end. When I was there, I could have sworn that a medium clear pulled up on this mast, but I don't remember. Like, I may have stayed for a bit, but I don't know why I wouldn't have taken a photo. I might be mistaking it, but I could have sworn that went up to me, but nothing showed up. I think I stayed for a bit, but I was with someone that probably didn't want to be there. So that's the end of it. Thank you for attending and listening and watching. Let me just make sure I have everything that I need. It should be about 91 of these things. So it says 89. Oh, okay. I think... should be 48 and 41. Yep, 89. That's what I'm expecting, because there was a full one on the first day and then 41 on the second. Total of 89. All right, so that should be good. I'll get these up. Thank you for watching. Let me see if there's any questions. Yeah, the poll lines is just even when they had CTC and before even the PTC requirement, railroads are just allergic to pole lines because trees fall down and you lose everything. It just destroy. Railroads really aren't utility companies. Like I can't. I mean, they're cool, but at the same point, like today's, it's good. It's business. Today's general business logic is like, don't do something you're not. AT&T is a phone company, not a movie studio. Railroads are a railroad. They're not a utility company. They're not a phone company. You try to maintain your specialties, especially when you're not even going for being a conglomerate. So, all right, I'm gonna head out of here, and next stream. Yeah, so I would like to stream next Friday, but it's only going to be for a single day, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. So it's either going to be next Friday or a combination of next Friday and the 11th of July. So we'll see. I got lucky this time with a 2-day back-to-back, but might have to split up some of the future ones, just because I have very little 1 days that I can do. And almost everything's a 2-day, but I don't have a lot of 2 nights when I'm here to do this. So I'll let you guys know. I'll maybe put a poll up. They say that increases engagement metrics. So have a great day. I got to get rolling, and you all stay safe, and hopefully I'll get some videos and stuff of CNJ number 113 tomorrow. Check the channel. I probably will get those up sometime next week if it happens. So I'm going to log off, and I'll have fun.